This is going to be a seminar in which we have way too much fun. We're going to spend some time working with you about some exciting new developments that we want to bring you up to speed on. To do that, we've had to coordinate a lot of people and a lot of technology slamming in right after Mike Kremer finished a turntable presentation. You know what that means? Mike will talk about turntables for a long time. So, yeah, exactly. So I want to go ahead and get started and respect your time and make sure that we have maximum time for two things. Two things, for the panelists and also for your questions. Because we're going to be delving into an area today that there really isn't a lot of common information on, and some of the folks we have here represent the very latest state-of-the-art expertise. We can tell you what's happening right here, right now, and that's our intention. For those of you, were there any of you who attended our session at Rocky Mountain in just last fall? Okay, some of you did. That presentation was a presentation on the hardware side. Okay, you'll recall we had Andreas Balch from Playback Designs. We had other folks, people like Mikhail Zurich, who were right out there on the cutting edge with people like Andreas. And this session, instead of concentrating so much on the hardware, because the hardware is actually starting to shake down, as we're going to make clear. Instead, we're going to be concentrating more on the recording side. What's happening with the software, what we can be expecting in the near future as far as interesting stuff like downloadable VSD. Coming soon to a media server near you. Okay, it is on the way, it is happening. So, to get started on this real quickly, I'm going to start with Jonathan here. I'm going to ask every panelist.
Honestly, Michael Bishop's a lot more interesting. I'd start on that.
You would start on that? Okay.
What do you want to know?
Okay, well, no, what we want to do is first I want to make sure we get introductions all the way down.
Well, let's start with Jonathan.
What we're going to do is we're going to try to exercise very good microphone discipline too, and make sure that everybody can hear what's going on. I'm going to ask each panelist then to take a minute or two and introduce themselves before we get into a presentation or two, some general commentary, and into your questions. Because we want to make sure we have some time for questions. Okay, Jonathan, yes.
I'm Jonathan. I'm Jonathan Tin. My company's Playback Designs. I started it with my partner Andreas Konch. And Andreas is really the brains of the operation. I'm the beauty. And I also have another company which is Wave Kinetics, and we build turntables. So I'm very much an analog guy as well. And I'm obviously a huge advocate for DSD and possibilities for DSD downloads and the future of that.
Yeah, I'm Bruce Brown. I'm owner and mastering engineer at Fuji Sound Studios in Seattle. We do all the high-res transfers for HD tracks. We've been doing that for the past 3 years now. We do mastering with Evolution Acoustics and M3s, but we're the only mastering studio in the Pacific Northwest that can do edit, record, and master DSD information. So.
I'm Rob Robinson, and my company is Channel D. We're not involved in production or distribution of DSD, but we are involved in playback, and Channel D makes a popular music player for Macintosh called Pure Music. And I'd like to add to Johnson's comment about vinyl, that we're also involved with vinyl, with a product called Pure Vinyl. And I devote a lot of my listening time to vinyl, but not analog. That doesn't make sense, but basically there is a combination of digital and analog involved, so it's not strictly analog. So we're all digital. Okay, thanks.
I'm Cookie Marenko from Blue Coast Records, and recording engineer and producer for about 25 years. Went back to recording on 2-inch, still do. And I mixed down to DSD, and then from there we convert as needed or remaster.
Well, I'm Exlin of Cedar River. For anybody that's not familiar, we make media software with a focus on the video file and the audio file markets. Highly recommended by the computer audiophile and hopefully a bit of a de facto standard on Windows for anybody that cares about sound quality.
I'm Michael Bishop. I'm a recording engineer and producer for 5-4 Productions, which is an independent audio production company. My partners, 2 partners and I were former part of the production department for Telloc Records. I worked for them for about 30 years and became the chief engineer for quite a long run before Concord Music put an end to that. We've always recorded in high resolution of one kind or another. I mean, the first sessions I did for Telloc Records were in 1977 and 78, direct to lacquer master, and I was running the lathes on those. And then Telloc moved to the SoundStream 50 kilohertz system, and then we moved to 20-bit PCM. And then we moved to DSD in around 1998, I think, when Mark Finder got us into trouble by inviting us to a listening session. On
Mark, would you please raise your hand? That's Mark right there.
He got Tellark into the CD business too. And but high resolution has been a part of our life in one way or another, and mostly it just comes down to that. We want to get as close to what the music sounds like coming out of the studio or off the stage. So it's always been the goal, is to just be as close to what that music sounded like.
I'm Tom Caulfield, and I'm here representing Jared Sachs and his company, Channel Classics. And Channel Classics catalog of about 300 high-definition recordings.
Yeah, I think most of you who are familiar with SACDs are familiar with the Channel Classics label. And I just recently published an article about Channel Classics in which I extol the interface they have going. We're going to talk a little bit more about Channel Classics, and we're actually going to be getting a greeting from Jared Sachs. Jared would have been here to greet us all if he had been able to get to the United States in time for this event. But he did send us a video that we'll be taking a look at.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you?
Oh, and me. Sorry about that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. David Robinson. I'm editor-in-chief of Positive Feedback. We're an online magazine over at www.positive-feedback.com. If you're not there, you're already square, so you got to get rolling. Yeah. I'm talking about it. We've been publishing paper and ink as Positive Feedback for about 13 years. Between 1990 and 2002. And then we shifted. By 2002, it was clear to me that paper and ink publishing for small audio journals made no sense anymore. And I had a pretty strong IT background, and so for me it was very comfortable just, okay, so we're going to shift. Dave Clark, Carol Clark, Lila Ritzman and I formed the business partnership that morphed 2 magazines into Positive Feedback Online. And so I've been doing this now for 23 years. Been an audiophile for a lot longer than that, and have been a lover of audio without knowing the word audiophile since I was 15 or 16, like many of us, living perverted youths.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Anyway, so what we want to do today is we want to focus on we have a presentation or 2 that we want people to see. I think probably we should let Jared introduce himself through his video, if that's ready.
I must say, even after the whole recording session, the editing now and post-production, it remains an exciting, exhilarating experience for me as a musician playing for years in orchestra to have this opportunity to work with Ivan Fischer and the Budapest Festival. And even after 17 recordings, every one is such a unique experience. I'm Jared Sachs from Channel Classics, and I really appreciate this opportunity to talk with you a little bit about recordings that I've been doing for the last 20 years, last 12 in DSD high resolution. Sorry I can't be there today at your high resolution forum, but I'm hoping to give you a little bit of insight in this way about how I've been working. For me, the most important aspect of making recordings is to keep the analog chain as clean and electronic free as possible. This has meant experimenting with cables, with power supplies, and of course with converters. I always mix at the recording session, from small ensemble to large orchestra. So as much as possible, making the